coming. Review and approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
First and second on the floor to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? Hearing none, motion to approve. Review and approve the minutes from the previous meeting.
Okay, sounds good, Kathy.
We have a motion on the floor to approve the meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
First and second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion's carried. Townships, questions, concerns. Well, I have one. I had them put it on here, the roadside vegetation stuff, and we had talked. But I still think we ought to do a mowing first on the town roads and the ditches or what have you. Because it got too far away, it washes off. I think we proved that it's not working when you spray in the spring. I'm thinking mow in the spring and then spray instead of the second mowing. Cause it's drier, you know. Just wanted to lay that out to y'all and see what y'all think. I don't know. I know it's gonna cost a little bit more money.
Well, it all depends if we switch what we're doing and just do a mowing first and spray later, it shouldn't cost that much more. If anything, because we're still doing the same process, we're just
Just
transposing in
flipping it
the
around.
direction we're doing it.
Worth a try.
One thing, I kind of disagree with you in the fact that it's not working. We are eliminating the invasives out on the county roads. So we are seeing successes there, and we're also seeing successes in limiting the broadleaf weeds that are out there. The stuff that you're seeing coming up now, it's the milkweed, it's the blue stem, the native prairie grasses is what you're seeing. So that's later maturing plants that you're seeing be more prolific once the competing vegetation has been restricted. So I'm hesitant to say it's not working. We did have some crew members that were out at a training in September at the County Highway Association, and there are some counties that are doing the spraying after the mowing. They're doing the mowing late June, early July, then spraying after that, and they're seeing control on the blue stem. It still won't affect the milkweed, but they're seeing control on the blue stem, which is that tall wispy grass that you're seeing in the ditch is what your concern is. Because that has spread and that has become more prolific in the last couple of years with the invasives and the non-native species being suppressed. So our thought internally was to try that on the state system and probably a corner or a half of the town or the county system to see how that works. And then we can judge this half versus that half next year to see which way we're better apt to proceed.
That sounds good.
Okay.
I know all but me on Jay. They've been going ahead and doing their process there. And the only thing on Jay that goes ahead and comes up is, like I said, is a native prairie grasses that come along there. And, it's nice not to go ahead and see a lot of the other weeds and everything, go ahead and approach on the ropes, so.
Well, it got so bad by us. I mean, it was over the fenders of your pickup.
Yeah.
When you're going down the road, it was crazy. So, and we can't let that happen. It's not only for the deer, I mean, it's just dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, some of these weeds, assuming you get them in the spring, you know, the better off you are.
Well, it's kind of a catch-22 because you have some of the late maturing plants too.
Yeah, they come on.
You know, if we mow too early, then we're missing the parsnip and the parsnip is still there.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of why we've got to gauge our response accordingly based on what we're trying to prevent.
Is there a way you can mow and spray at the same time?
Not effectively because most of the spray is a foliar applied herbicide, and when you mow, you take off the foliage, and so you're essentially just spraying the stems, and it doesn't get the control that you're wanting.
Okay.
It seems to be working by us with the exception of, what'd you say, the bluegrass
Blue stem, yeah.
or the blue stem? And that's horrible. Between double Z and 10th on C there, it's so thick. It's over the truck, the deer are on the roads. If you had to pull off the road for an emergency, you're not getting off the road. So I agree with everybody. I think it's working. I think we should keep what works and look to change what isn't. How that is, I'll leave it up to you, but yeah, I got a lot of complaints on C all summer long, so much so that I was gonna mow it myself. because it's between two of my properties that I transit with my hay mower. And luckily mine broke and you got to it before I did, but it is a huge concern on that stretch of road, so. But everywhere else without that type of plant, it seemed to slow it down to where when you cut it, it wasn't out of control and it was still, maintained, so. But if we could get a control on that, whether it's, you know,
Is there something that targets that plant?
Well, there's Roundup, but that'll target everything. And you start spraying grass killer and then you're affecting the grass that you want to keep the
yeah, I was
soils.
gonna say, then you'll have washouts.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would say, I don't know how you talk to your highway commissioners and see what they're seeing and I mean, we don't need to run the tests ourselves necessarily. There's plenty of counties, like you say, that do it differently.
Mhm.
Just ask that question around and see what they say. There may be stretches of road that, you know, you do stretches of road differently, if that's how you're seeing predominantly in those areas. And that's like, I'll use my section C, cause I travel it every day. That's pretty much all you got there now. And so if you just say, okay, this section, we're gonna treat a little differently. Like you said, you're still using the chemicals, you're just shifting the timeline.
And one thing we have noticed since we've been doing this spraying and mowing is we've been creeping our fall mowing ahead on the county system. Traditionally, we didn't start until September, and this year we started, I think, the second or third week in August, just because of the blue stem being taller. So as we're able to finish up with some of the paving projects, and as soon as we have available manpower, we're shifting them now onto the mowers just to try to get ahead of the growth out there.
Okay, well, that answered my question. I don't believe we need any type of action on it or anything other than, I think, just let Brian go along and keep doing what he's doing. He knows the problems now.
Yeah, I'm with that too.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Citizens input. Debbie?
I'm really happy to hear you guys on this invasive plant issue. I guess I took it to the home board in Harrisburg last night, wanted to get their opinion on where they're at. I don't know, did they spray last year?
They did not spray last year.
They did, okay. So what you're doing here is what I think needs to be, in my opinion, I'm worried about my road, and I split Packwaukee Township, you know, south of me, and then I'm on the northern end where Harris Township means. And is blue stem that real tall grass? that
Yep.
goes- that it's not solid, but it's
Wispy, yeah.
I think they seed that, they sell that as a cover or something, or for on.
It's in a lot of the native prairie mixes. Yeah, with the prairie restoration, that's in all the mixes.
Right. Well, this goes back to, you know, when this first started with the state of Wisconsin. I know there's been minutes here, but anyway, the biggest thing we have is, are all the townships spraying, or, I mean, it's not that we have to spray. But I think it does hold, it has a 3-year carryover. What does it do on the blue stem?
Blue stem, it'll control it if the blue stem is germinated and there's enough foliage there at the time we spray, but it's a later maturing plant, so typically when we're spraying early to mid-May, it's not up high enough to be controlled by the growth hormone.
The biggest one that I see driving around is definitely the wild parsnip. This county, I mean, you guys have done a good job, and it's not only from the road into the property line, well, that's our problem as a landowner is keeping it from getting away on our properties, because there's enough invasives there already, like, you know, the thistle, on and on and on, where the milkweeds and all the native plants, that's not your target plant. And I know there was some issues in Harrisville about the complaint of, we want to get it mowed, don't wait to mow, you know, but if you educate the public on the seriousness of parsnip, number one, once a family member rolls into this stuff and finds out what really happens, they can end up in the ER or in the hospital. And we're looking at generations, at least a generation or more down the road. You can't control it, you're managing it. So your delivery as far as in the minutes is management. It's not control, you can't really control, but you can sure assure that we can help manage it. So what I'm hearing here, now how do we get that to the other townships? Because when I left Harrisville last night, they were in agreement that, yeah, we'll work with it. The only question that came up was, can it be spot sprayed? Like if you see the parsnip coming, you know, it's like targeting the worst one. And cut the other ones. So can you spray the areas where, and target spray the parsnip? And then mow? Is there still enough carryover for that 3 year, or do you have to let it grow? But I think the reason you'd leave it was for the native plants.
Right.
Can it be spot sprayed?
It can be spot sprayed if we know where it is. I don't know if the town is gonna want us to go out and inventory their roadsides prior to it, because unfortunately with the town, we have to bill per hour that our guys are out there, so they'd be billed for a pickup truck and a guy to determine where the parsnip is. And is that gonna be cost prohibitive to the mowing and or spraying?
Because the question was, well, they can't pick their boom up and their wing or whatever and drop it and pick it up and drop, no, that's not what I'm saying. I said, if you can spot spray the hot ones, the bad ones, they're all bad. But you categorize them and the public has to understand, and they're part of this journey. Because if you have it, if it's a logger that comes in or some other activity that deposits on the property and it moves to the road, we're spinning our wheels. The other thing is I'm willing to volunteer in our township, because I do get around the area, to market. And put it on the market on the roadside, so it can be delivered to the highway department, so you can do your job. Now, there's like in John Deere, you have AMS systems, you have the systems where you can log it into the computer. And I know that there is on your web, there is a website here that does, I don't know how active it is anymore. And this was supplied by the highway department, which you guys have a ton of information. All people have to do is ask. And the townships need to, I think they know that, but maybe they don't come here to get the information. And it's it's an invasive partnership.
You can put this website on your phone. Yeah, I just hit it on my thing and
What's
our
that?
longitude and latitude right here is 43.7 by 89.3. It marks it within 3 feet.
It's like Onyx or the hunting apps.
Didn't drop it.
There's I think there's some apps in there that could be utilized, but we have time right now. We have winter coming. The mowing is pretty much done. What I've seen, the mowing has done a good job. And I think we, the county, has done a really good job of managing their roads and the partnerships with the townships. Now, I know the Wisconsin Towns Association meeting, did you discuss that? Did you have
We haven't discussed that lately, no.
I think it's worth, no matter the reception of it, I think it's worth putting it on an agenda for that.
Sure.
And the spot spraying would save money. Still time. But I think spot spraying, if you can target the parsnip and then target the next, categorized best, worst, and then mow. Because I think some of the understanding isn't there. What I heard this morning from everyone that responded here, I'm really satisfied as a constituent. You made a lot of sense to me this week. I appreciate that. I think my neighbors do too, but I can't speak for them. But anyway, I left there last night. I didn't volunteer, but I'm willing to go market. If we can find an app, maybe we can share it to be a universal piece of media where all of the highway department can use it. They can do it on cornfields and hay fields and soybean fields. Maybe we can do it on our roads.
Is it possible to put like a hand sprayer on the mowers when they're out there, when the guy sees that stuff too?
I don't think we'll be able to carry the quantity of spray that we need effectively. I mean, you're gonna have to probably have a 50-gallon drum on there somehow to be able to spray enough where he's not constantly mixing.
I think one last thing as far as the media part of this, I think it's very important that somehow, some way, the county board or our media portion of our county government delivers this maybe on the Tribune. I know it costs money to get things in there, but it's the cheapest way possibly to get the information out there. Now, I'm on the Ice Age Trail. And we get a lot of people that use that trail. And you know, there's good and there's bad as far as the use of that. But it's public space. But because of that, I'm fighting the battle to keep it good for us and our neighbors and the use of that property for the farmers. Not only that, it's tourism is a big deal. And however we're depositing parsnip, I think it's important because it is a state statute to manage the weeds, invasive weeds on your own property. John, I think is in the statute.
Yeah, noxious weeds control.
Noxious weeds control. So that not only, that's everybody.
Yeah.
Including the tourists. So that's where I'm gonna leave it, and I appreciate everybody, you know, the position that the county is, that this committee is giving to the county. I think it's a very positive.
Thank you.
Can
Great
you,
seeing you.
could you do a presentation like that for the Towns Association?
Sure.
Cause just kind of carrying what, you know, throwing it through in my mind, what he was saying. I've got 2 supervisors on my board, and if you'd be willing to do like a town training, just a quick, you know, hey, this is what you're looking for, early stages, late stages. Then, I mean, if the town is willing to do it, be town dependent, but like in my mind, in my town, I'd be willing to send a supervisor up, get trained, and then like he said, you just travel through the town and mark it out. And then you can, you know, cause I don't know if we have a huge parsnip problem.
It's definitely out there. I guess the magnitude of it depends where you're at. 'Cause
Right.
It seems like if you've got it, it's bad. If there's areas where it's just starting to trickle in, it doesn't seem as bad.
Well, and that's my point. I don't think we do, but I don't wanna wait until we do to get on top of it.
Mhm.
So if we could, you know, educate all the towns as one, and if you could do some kind of county training, you know,
Opportunities Monday night.
yeah. I don't know if you can put it together by then, but,
Probably not.
right, but I'm just saying in the next springtime, maybe a little late, cause when do we do it? April is our next one. But yeah, like I said, at a town level, I'd send a supervisor up, just get a quick training, and then we can patrol ourselves and work with you to manage it.
Well, if I may interject, one last thing. You
Go
know,
ahead.
the parsnip, if you don't deal with it in its infancy, you will have a forest fire. What I mean, it's gonna be out of control.
Yeah.
You just travel down, you know, the I-90 corridors north is really bad. You get down towards Milwaukee where they're moving a lot of dirt. And dirt movement is a big deal. But like, if you're shouldering, if you're building up your shoulders, you're moving the seed from one place to another, and that's how it propagates. It's not all the fault of the road work. It's the fault of everything else that goes on. And one other thing is to be aware of is pokeweed. Does anybody, besides the song pokeweed? Pokeweed is bad. And if you get that, it was an ornamental. And I have it, and I've been fighting it, for it comes in again with activity that is brought onto the land. That stuff will grow up to 8 foot higher.
Mhm.
And it's a perennial. And one way to control that, now I only heard from someone who was trying to manage that on state lands. He had a business. He said if you cut it in its berry stage, when it first berries out, not sure, this is only coming from someone who has tried it. He said, I heard that if you cut it in its berry stage, it doesn't like that. It'll kill it. So rather than spray for it, I cut it, I waited till it buried out, and it was 8 feet tall. And I cut it with a machete. For 2 years, and it's gone. But what I've noticed that has taken over is the garlic mustard. Now, I'm thinking the garlic might have had something to do with the soil. And the part of the garlic mustard kept it, I haven't seen it. That was in an oak forest. And
You got garlic, mustard, pokeweed, you need to make some salad, Bert.
Well, I guess I noticed, that's just from what I've seen, but if that pokeweed gets a start, it's nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Takes over. Thank you.
All right. Moving along with financial reports.
I'll share my screen. So for the month of September, on the state RMA, larger expenses were asphalt patching on the interstate and then roadside vegetation for mowing. And looking at month expenditures for September, 15,724. And that has completely expended our RMA once we take out the equipment storage and winter readiness. We knew that was going to happen just based on the I-39 patching work we did in the spring. So the state has supplemental RMA funding from counties that are coming under and additional DMA funds that they're able to cover our overages. We also had several discretionary maintenance items that we're working on for the state this year. We got the state salt shed, the asphalt repairs, State Highway 22, bridge decks, bridge washing, and then the I-39 roadway repairs. So to date, we've got $61,081 left on those DMA projects. Looking at the county funds. So for the month of September, we spent $197,291 in county maintenance, no winter maintenance, small charge to the Causeway project of roughly $130, $725 roughly towards bridge maintenance, and then $4,000 towards county road construction and about $8,600 on county overlay maintenance. So that does put us over on the allocated budget, but we did receive the county CH reimbursement and will be receiving the county J reimbursement. So our remaining budget for the year is $293,308.41. And dividing that out into activities, we've got the RPE, rapid penetrating emulsion seal we did on our past cold in place recycling roads for $106,000, $13,000 in county patching. Then here we see the county mowing at $37,561. And some drainage work for about $6,500.
That sealer, that's something new or?
That is something new that is prolonging the life of that recycled pavement, so it restores the oil that's lost to oxidation on the top. And then it prolongs the cracking, so we don't have to crack fill as soon and hopefully don't have to chip seal as soon. So we're hoping to extend that maintenance cycle and get 5 to 7 years on it before we have to do any supplemental maintenance work. And then here on the second page, you just see those small charges to the Causeway project, the bridge maintenance, and road construction and overlay projects. Looking at the towns, month of September saw just shy of $175,000 worth of work. 47,500 of that was labor, and also $2,055 to the villages and cities. So that brings the total for the month to $176,801, and total for the year, 1.48 million. And that is down slightly versus the 5-year average and down slightly versus last year, just over 1% on each one. Breaking that out into construction and winter maintenance. Obviously in August, September, it's all construction related work. So construction is down just over 1% and winter maintenance is down 19% versus the previous 5-year average. And looking at the 20% labor allocation through the town agreements, all but 4 towns have met, and we've got sizable projects in the remaining towns that should put us close to meeting their allocation here in the next month or 2. So it's likely by December, all towns would have met that allocation. Dividing out the labor percentages, the county work has made up 57.87% of our work. state 22.36, township 18.74. And then the other villages, city, interdepartmental, et cetera, just over 1%. And then focusing on that highlighted column there, that's what hits the tax levy. So we're about 29 cents on the dollar for the highway department operations hitting the tax levy. And fuel sold for the month of September, 4,365 gallons. Month average price was $2.43 for unleaded, $2.46 for diesel. And year to date, we are about 40, just shy of 43,000 gallons. And in total as a department, we purchased 102,791. So we're selling about 41% of what we're purchasing. Average price for unleaded, $2.73, average price for diesel, $2.75. So any questions on the financials?
Project review.
And update on the state salt dome replacement. Crews completed the paving of the site yesterday. We heard from the builder that the doors are delayed from the manufacturer. So reimbursement of those DMA funds will occur upon project completion. So unfortunately, we're gonna be funding that replacement project until we can get those doors in and be reimbursed completely for the state when that project's done.
That impact use.
No, it will not impact use. We're able to fill that as soon as, well, we can fill it now. They can work around the salt when they put the doors in. Moving on to county project review and update. If you recall, we have been discussing a small project on County A and County D in those urbanized sections in Briggsville and Pequawki. So we've been working with Strand and Associates on the conceptual plans. As part of the coming LRIP program, I would like to move forward with the design on those segments. So that'll be funded by the county. There won't be any LRIP reimbursement on the design, but that allows us to have the designs prepped and ready to go when any funding is there. So the projected amount is 42,000 for the design on County A and 40,000 for the design on County D. And that design will be completed in 2026 and billed on a monthly basis. So I'm requesting approval from the committee to proceed with the contracts for the design of those projects with Strand and Associates.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
First and second on the floor to approve the contract with Strand and whom?
Strand Associates.
And Associates. Any further discussion? Hearing none, motion approved.
And an update on the Causeway project, the fishing platforms, the paved approaches and the pavement markings have been placed. So that project is essentially completed. The $1 million reimbursement was received earlier in the year. So as far as anything tied to that Causeway project, that should be finalized and done. I did speak with the engineering design group. There's some state and national awards they're gonna be submitting project photos and narratives for, specifically related to the lightweight fill, and then just some of the design aspects with the fishing platforms that they incorporated to more of a tourist attraction or a tourist related draw. So we'll kind of see where we fall on some of that stuff, but that's all gonna be submitted by the design firm.
I've heard the platforms, people really like them
Okay.
and use them, so.
Depends on where you get your information. If you sit in your house and you get it off the internet, it was the dumbest thing we've ever done. If you actually go out and meet people and talk to them, they love it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So it's,
Yep.
so
it's, if you use it, you know, and if you don't, you
Well,
always have a different opinion.
it ain't even that. It's my opinion on it is if you sit in your house and get your input from different sources and not reality, then you have more of a negative attitude. But if you
Mhm.
actually go out and talk to people about it and get information, you have more of a positive. But yeah, everybody I've talked to loves it. I think it's a great thing, not only for the road and, you know, the people, utilization of the attraction, but you've got all those naysayers that sit at home and just type stuff up that are uneducated, as one of my constituents said. So,
You had folks down there last summer, they were loving it. They
oh, yeah.
had their little grills out there, they were cooking, they were fishing, they had a good time.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
I think it dresses up Buffalo Lake. I
Right.
mean,
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
you know,
Yep.
it's more than just rocks on the side of the road. So,
Yeah, I'm all for it.
And I was impressed, actually being, you know, a town member, when we widened it back in, would have been 17. We did it in the fall, and in the spring it had already settled and cracked, and I mean, it was a big mess, and we got a lot of backlash over that. I was impressed this year how much work they did. Everybody questioned the effectiveness of that wood chip fill. And when I drove across it this spring, there was, for as much dirt and rock that we added on top of that road bed, I was surprised that I didn't even see a single crack. That road bed held just in the same timeline as the previous time we did it tremendously. And so I was, you know, I thought it was a great idea. I'm not an engineer, couldn't tell you if it works or not, but I know it worked better than, and I've been part of 2 reconstructions on that, and it worked a million times better than the first one. I was surprised. I didn't see a single crack in it. So I think we're gonna get our bang for our buck regardless of what the naysayers say.
Right.
I agree.
And continuing on for a Richards Pit update, the control house changeover at the asphalt plant is nearly complete. We are able to run and have been paving the last week and a half out of the plant there.
Good.
We are still waiting on the new AC pump and the transformer for that line power transition that we discussed last meeting. So we're able to run in the meantime and just waiting on some final items to tie up that changeover.
When are they thinking that power changeover is gonna happen?
As soon as that transformer comes, then the electricians can run, the Adams Columbia can run it to the transformer, and then the electricians could take it from the transformer to the shack.
They don't have any lead time on that
They
transfer.
said it was in stock and ready to ship, and then something happened and it was not in stock and ready to go. So
Reason I ask is down on C last year, they buried the lines from overhead to underground, and it should have been a 3-month project. But those type of transformers, they had over a year backlog on it. And so I know they've had some production issues with transformers. I was just wondering if that new one was gonna be similar to what I've seen in the past.
we do own the big generator that's down there. The little one will be removed once motion is done with the transition for the new control house. But we are able to run on the big generator in the meantime, and that'll remain throughout the line power, just to have as a backup.
See, town project,
The Crystal Lake Dover Avenue Bridge that was part of the BIL grant program has been completed. There's been little to no movement with the town of Montello Railroad Bridge. Columbia County, I heard yesterday, has got a mediation scheduled with the railroad and a member of the DOT Bureau of Rails and Harbors to try and spur some movement there. I haven't really heard or seen anything on the agenda, but just the fact that they're finally at a mediation, hopefully the ball is rolling and we see some movement eventually with the town of Montello structure. That is one program cycle behind, so Columbia's will be completed and then they'll probably look at ours. But with those programs, that's essentially a 5-year program cycle, and it was awarded in 21 and 22. So that project cycle sunsetted June 30th of this year. So if it would have met the timelines, it would have been completed and the project is essentially over and done with this year. So that's how far we're behind already. And they're coming out with a new program cycle that I'll be discussing here in a little bit, where we've got County O eligible, but that just shows how much the delay has cost, and it's going to not only cost the town in the inflationary in construction increases, but the property around there, they have to buy right away is going to go up, and then just the design and all the additional tweaks they're gonna have to do to the plans is going to go up just based on the railroad inflicted delays. Then I mentioned the new local bridge program. Those applications are due October 31st. The only bridge eligible in the county is the County O structure over the Fox River Bridge. That's the 7-span structure now where we get the debris buildup during the flow, or storm flow. So I have talked with a couple design firms already, and they're putting together some estimates that I can include in that application. And we're going with essentially a 3-span design, so it leaves that main river channel open rather than having piles right in that main river channel. So hopefully the debris will flow freely and not get clogged up on that new bridge.
what about, as far as bridges go? There's like a farm, it's like a LRP project, but it's for bridges and farm roads and stuff to improve them.
The ag road improvement,
Yeah,
okay. That program cycle was out. They had a webinar on it last week, but I had conflicting meetings, so I wasn't able to watch that. So I'm gonna watch it, hopefully this week or next week. And then I believe that is due the end of the year. So these STP programs and projects, those applications are due the end of October. So I'm gonna get through the county Yole structure application and then move on to ARIP. And if there's anything that is corresponding with any of the towns, I'll let you guys know what's available out there for funding.
you know what bridge I'm talking about
Yep.
up there.
And then what potentially everybody would qualify for. And then just one more note on that County O structure, should it be selected for that program cycle, projected completion of construction would be in 2028 or 2029. So we're looking at design probably in 27 and potential construction in 28 or 29. Then an update on interdepartmental operations. We've got a small paving project to complete for buildings and grounds. And also working on brushing projects with buildings and grounds and the Parks Department. So those will be completed here in the next couple of weeks. And as far as equipment, property purchase and disposal, I've been talking with Paul at Buildings and Grounds about the Endeavor shop property. That's only been used as equipment storage for the last several years. And based on our fleet consolidation and reducing the number of mower tractors we have, we're now able to store everything we need to store at Montello's shop here and the fairgrounds in the show barn. So Paul is suggesting that we put, and I'm in agreement that we put that Endeavor shop property on a coming surplus auction that he's putting together with some other buildings and grounds items. So we'd need,
But you're selling the Endeavor shop.
we would need agreement from the committee to place that on the coming surplus auction.
What are you looking at getting?
He would come up with some type of a reserve bid. I guess we could set it higher, and if we don't obtain it, then we can just knock it down and keep relisting. But
So
I would lean
You
on-
haven't used it in a while.
we just park equipment there, and
Oh,
based on, I mean, it's probably built in the sixties or seventies. So there's maintenance that needs to be done, and for us to keep running water and heat in there when we just store equipment there, it doesn't.
So you're looking at someone just to tear it down?
No,
No, we
Sell the property.
we sell the property,
Oh, sell the whole thing?
sell it
Okay.
as it exists. It's a 3-bay shop with a bathroom.
just to put it on surplus.
Yep.
I suggest we take this to property.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
First and second on the floor to sell the
And
highway building in Endeavor. Any further discussion on that?
Can you hear me? This is
All
Ron.
those in favor say aye.
Right.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Agree if you ain't using it.
And one other equipment item, we've got an old Gale skid steer here. It's a 2009 model. We've been experiencing some increasing electrical issues, and that unit's been used in the brine shed, so it's got some significant corrosion. We solicited bids from several different vendors. We've got 5 responses back from the vendors. We also offered the Gale as a trade-in, and the screen deck we've got as a trade-in. So when considering those trade-ins, we got almost half the price of the new machine covered in those trade-ins. So the out-of-pocket amount for the replacement skid steer would be $32,849.17, and that would come out of the 2026 equipment budget. So I'm requesting approval from the committee to move forward with the purchase of that replacement skid steer.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve that replacement skid steer.
I'll second.
First and second on the floor to approve the replacement equipment. 2026 budget. Any further discussion?
So,
Hearing none, motion approved.
sounds like a pretty good deal.
Yeah,
It's,
Then an update on personnel and staffing. We've got 2 current vacancies, and we will be holding interviews next Tuesday, October 28th. And then as far as upcoming events, we're hosting meetings tomorrow here for the Marquette County sections of the local road improvement committees. So there'll be 2 meetings. One will be the eligible townships at 9 AM and then the municipalities at 11 AM. And those committees will decide on the town and municipal Elbert projects for the coming program cycle. It'll be the 26 and 27 program cycle. That brings us to the vouchers. Any questions on the vouchers?
What did Reason do for $100?
They pumped the portable restroom out at the asphalt plant.
Oh,
Could I drill a hole in the bottom of it? Put it in the asphalt.
yeah.
Anything else, anybody? The agenda being completed, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you all.